Okay guys, let's talk about profit margins on a rank and rent website in 2024. I want to give you the most accurate picture of what it really looks like. And the answer to this question is going to depend on how you decide to run your business. So I'm going to try and cover some of that and keep it very, brief and succinct, and but also just be real with you guys and let you know. So, if any of you guys follow me on social media, I have an Instagram account, and this can be a plug for the Instagram account, but that wasn't the purpose. Is my Instagram username is digital drug dealing, right? Digital drug dealing, and it's kind of a play on words. It's kind of a funny thing. It's kind of a let's throw people off. But really, what part of the inspiration for the name of my Instagram account was because the margins. Imagine that horn is so loud over there. Excuse me. Is because the margins are so juicy. They can be so juicy. They can be so big, and they're second only to drugs. Okay, I know it's kind of a dark comparison, but that's the truth. It's a really, really profitable business if you structure it right. If you figure out how to go into the right city, go into the right niche, you can get to a point where you can turn your ads completely off. The margins can be ridiculous, like ridiculously high. So I will tell you, I have websites right now where my only costs are my tracking number, which is anywhere from $2 to $5, depending on the service you use. It could be a little bit higher if you have less quantity. So let's say $10 a month. Okay, you have your domain, which costs you 12 to 20 bucks up front, and then it's a few bucks per month if you calculate it out. So you're maybe at $12 to $15 per month. Then you got your hosting, and again, depending on what you use, if you're using WordPress, it's very low. If you're using like a Weebly or whatever, it could be another 10 to 12 bucks, 15 bucks. So we're at, let's call it 30 bucks a month, okay? That's it. That if you are getting your website ranked and you've picked the right city and the right niche, you don't have to do consistent, content and a ton of backlinks every single month. There's not a ton of maintenance, and you're ranked and you're getting leads coming in, and you've been able to shut your ads almost completely off. That's really all the hard cost that you have on that specific project, okay? So if you look at that, and let's say it's $1,000 a month deal, and you're spending, let's say, less than $50, $30 to $50 per month, that's an extremely, extremely profitable website, right? And there are deals, and I currently have deals like that I've had for years and years and years, and those are real numbers. That's exactly what I have. That's exactly what I'm paying, and I'm getting that, okay? Now, what do you have to realize though is there's some caveats there. If you're just doing one site, yeah, that's great, right? But what you're not thinking about is, well, okay, you are gonna have a Stripe fee, right? If you're using Stripe and you're not gonna take a check, which you shouldn't be, so you're gonna have a Stripe fee. That's gonna cost you a little bit of money. You might have a CRM. You might be using some kind of a CRM tool that you're using. You may have a subscription to something that shows you search volume, something that shows you backlinks, right? There's some of these different tools out there. So these things start to add up, right? But if we're just looking at the one specific project by itself, standalone, the profits are extremely high. Now that's if the website's ranked, that's if you've done it properly, you don't have to run ads. And that is the end goal. That is what you're trying to do with every single one of these projects. Now, when you first start, if you follow the method that I subscribe to, and the way that I think is the only way to do it, which is rent first and then rank, because you're making money from day one instead of waiting, let's call it 5 to 7 months. You're gonna have some ad costs in the beginning. And some of you guys are like, why would I run it? Why would I want to have ad costs if I could do it the other way? Well, the difference is if you want to go the slow way, if you want to do rank and rent, you're gonna build a website. You're gonna have all the costs up front. You're gonna pay for the website. Or the domain. You're gonna pay for the content. You're gonna pay for the tracking number. You're gonna pay for all the different things, your labor, everything else. You're gonna pay for that, and then you're gonna carry those costs over the next 5 to 7 months until it ranks, and you're gonna be making $0, so you're gonna be in the negative, right? On the other hand, you can start today. You can go and get a client today, and yes, you might have to run ads. You might have to spend a lot of the money that's coming in on ads to keep leads flowing to this business owner, but you are in the green from day one. You're never not profitable. You're making money, even if it's a small amount of money, you're profitable all the way up. And then when it ranks, you can lower the ads, okay? So for those of you that are wondering, like, what is the profit margins if you're running ads? Again, that really depends, but I would say on $1,000 deal, I'm typically budgeting between $15 to $25 per day, okay? So essentially you're looking at, if you take a calendar month at 30.4 days on average, which is what Google says it is, then you're looking at spending between $600 at 20 bucks a day. Sorry, you spent $450 if you're doing $15 a day budget, you know, let's say $450 up to $750 per month. And you look at that and go, well, I don't know if that's that great, because you add on your tracking number and your hosting, etc. And let's say you're spending at the top end of that, you're at, you know, 750 plus the other extra 50, you're spending 800 of the 1,000, which leaves you with a $200 per month profit margin. That's only 20%. And I would argue with you, yeah, it's only 20%, but 20%, you're making $200 a month and you put almost nothing into this project. In fact, the business owner is the one that's actually funding the project, if you think about it, because you're using their money to build the project, right? So compared to a 95% profit margin, yeah, I completely understand. I completely agree with you. 20% doesn't sound that great, but 20% is still not that bad. Imagine putting almost nothing in and being able to make $200 per month. I know, for example, I have a rental property right now. It's a townhome, and I put in, it was a $400,000. This is bad. This is embarrassing, but it is what it is. I did it for depreciation, but I put in, it was a $415,000 property. I put in, 20% down, and so, you know, a chunk of money, $400 or $80,000 down, and that thing does not make, if anything, it's maybe making $200 a month, right? Because of the interest rates, because of this and that. And I put $80,000 into it, not to mention now I have the liability, not to mention that I had to go through all the paperwork, not to mention that it tied up some of my cash, blah, 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 blah. So even at 20% margin, guys, you're still making great money. And that's if you do a $1,000 a month deal. What if you would have done a $1,500 a month deal? What if you would have done a little bit better research and you wouldn't have had to spend as much ads? So just being completely real, I would say that your profits are gonna put you anywhere from probably 20% on the very lowest end up to 90% profits. And that's a reality. Now, it also comes down to, are you going to include, an office space? Well, did you need the office space? You can include that as part of your overhead, but you technically don't need the office space. Are you going to, what are you going to include as part of your overhead costs to calculate the profit margin? But if you're looking at an individual deal, if you're looking at an individual project, I would say 20% up to literally up to 90-95% profit margins. And there are projects out there, you are going to come across them, you are going to have them, and when they hit, it's amazing, and you go, why don't I just do 100 of these things? Because it is literally second only to selling drugs. So guys, this is the profit margins of 2024, and I haven't seen them change much. I've been doing this since 2016. I had a 1-year little hiatus where I chased some shiny pennies. But the profits have stayed, nothing has really increased. The cost of hosting stayed the same. If anything, it's gone down. The cost of tracking numbers has only gone down. All of the hard costs have stayed the same or gone down. And so really, the profits have never been better. So again, I'm not somebody that's just all rainbows and Skittles and positive, but I'm being completely honest with you. At the low end, you're gonna be, that 20%. At the high end, up to 95%. Sounds like a pretty decent business model to me. But you guys judge for yourself. I'll see you on the next video.